Wake up, old man. This ain't a damn motel. The sharp, mocking voice cut through Frank Wilson's light sleep. Before he could fully understand what was happening, a searing pain shot through his side, a violent electric jolt that stole his breath and sent his heart pounding. He gasped, his body jerking on the hard wooden bench. Through the haze of pain, he saw a young security guard, Jake, smirking, a taser still aimed at him. His partner, Ryan, leaned against a lamppost, chuckling. "You deaf or just stupid?" Jake sneered, the taser's prongs glinting in the sunlight. Frank clutched his chest, his mind spinning. He had been a soldier for 30 years. He knew pain. He knew sudden violence. But this was different. This was cruelty, casual and cold. He had faced enemies who wanted him dead, but the disdain in this kid's eyes cut deeper than any bullet. He had served his country, endured things that would break most men. And now, in a public park, just trying to rest for a moment, he was treated like garbage. Frank Wilson was a man whose posture, even slumped in exhaustion, still carried the ghost of military discipline. His clothes were clean but worn, his face lined not with age but with years of harsh sun, biting winds, and too many sleepless nights. He wasn't homeless, not yet, but he was between places, his small pension barely covering necessities. He carried little, a faded backpack with a change of clothes, an old Bible, and a few precious photos. He rarely spoke of his past, of the medals packed away, the men he'd led who never came home. He preferred silence, the dignity of just being. The park had seemed peaceful. He hadn't meant to fall asleep, just to rest his eyes. But the taser had shattered that peace, replacing it with a familiar, unwelcome tension. "What's your problem, old-timer?" Jake holstered the taser. "Can't you read? No sleeping on benches." Frank finally found his voice rough and weak. "I wasn't sleeping, just resting. I'm tired." Ryan scoffed. "Looked like you were passed out drunk to us." Frank's jaw tightened. "I'm not drunk." He reached into his jacket, fingers stiff, and pulled out an old VA card. "I'm a veteran. I just needed to sit down." Jake barely glanced at it. "Oh, a hero, huh? Newsflash, Grandpa. Lots of heroes end up on benches. Doesn't mean you get to camp out here." People were watching now. A young mother pulled her child closer, eyeing Frank with suspicion. "Pack your stuff and get out," Jake snapped. "Before we call the cops." Frank moved slowly, pain shooting through his old injuries. As he reached for his bag, it tipped over, spilling a few items, a folded flag, a worn book, and a small metal coin that rolled toward Jake's boot. "What's this junk?" Jake kicked it. Frank's voice turned sharp. "Don't touch that." Jake picked it up, turning it over. "Some cheap souvenir?" The coin had a strange insignia, an omega symbol wrapped around a sword. Frank's hand trembled. "That was given to me by General Hayes for what we did at Ravenor." Jake laughed. "Sure, buddy, and I bet you had lunch with the president, too." But an older man in the crowd, Mr. Carter, a retired history teacher, frowned. "Wait! Ravenor?" His eyes widened. He pulled out his phone, dialing fast. Minutes later, black SUVs roared into the park. Men in dark suits stepped out, moving with quiet authority. At their head was General Reynolds, his gaze locking onto Frank. "Sergeant Major Wilson?" he asked, voice thick with disbelief. "Frank, is that you?" The guards froze. Frank looked up, exhaustion and recognition in his eyes. "General Reynolds, sir." Reynolds turned to Jake, who still held the coin. "What happened here?" Jake stammered. "He was trespassing, sir. We had to—" Reynolds snatched the coin from him, examining it. His face darkened. "This," he said, voice shaking, is a Presidential Unit Citation for Task Force Omega, awarded for Ravenor." He looked at Frank, then back at the guards. "This man saved my life. He's got more medals for bravery than you've got brain cells. And you tased him?" The crowd gasped. Jake and Ryan stood frozen, faces white. Frank was taken to a quiet military guest house, given rest, and reunited with old brothers in arms. The guards lost their jobs. The city launched new veteran support programs. And on that park bench, a small plaque now sits. "Reserved in honor of our veterans. Thank you for your service.